Welcome, first of all. You point out accurately that there are two things that really drive valuations. One is profits and the other is interest rates, and both are moving in the wrong direction for equities.
Right. So, Tyler, first, condolences about UVA.
Yeah.
I know you're crushed, but life goes on, bud.
Yeah. It's all right.
Anyhow, yes, earnings and interest rates. So I'm not quite sure what people would have expected to happen in the market and to happen to the banking sector when we're in an environment where the Fed is raising rates and profits are decelerating. Right. I think if you had to choose, Tyler, between the Fed raising or lowering rates, profits accelerating or decelerating, I strongly doubt you would choose the combination of the Fed tightening and profits decelerating. That's what we have had. That's the environment where you get the most volatility in the equity market. That's when defaults start going up in the bond market. It's when banks start having trouble. And we're seeing all of the above.
Can the Fed effectively, I asked Jim Grant a few minutes ago, can the Fed effectively fight inflation and a banking debacle at the same time?
Well, normally it'd be very difficult. I think the Fed has a dilemma right now. Do they want to fight or fuel inflation? What's going to help them in their fight against inflation is that the FDIC and the Treasury have decided to ride in as the hero on the white horse and have made it very clear that they will support any bank failure. So the Fed can still fight inflation. I think a lot of people have missed that point. The Fed is not the only game in town. And, they have some good players on their team, Tyler.
Say that again, Richard. I'm sorry.
They have some good players on their team.
Yes, they have some good players on their team.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just rubbing it in. What are you, like an anti-UVA guy? Telling her to get over it? What would you tell the investors right now? They feel like Tyler does. They don't know what to do in this market.
Yeah. So Kelly, I think honestly, number one, this is a very unsettling but not unusual situation, right? So what works normally in this environment? Defensive things, right? It's time to hunker down. It's time to look at necessities, staples, healthcare, utilities, things like that. The oddity in this market right now is that despite everything that's going on, we have not killed the speculative fervor. Notice that cryptocurrencies are up. Notice that tech is up. We can't kill that. That's a bad sign for the Fed. Fed has to be very concerned that despite all their efforts, we're still seeing misallocations of capital in the economy, and which are ultimately quite inflationary, and we're not seeing a more normal response in the financial markets. They have to be very concerned about that.
So, Rich, I always like to ask you about kind of where are we in the cycle? I saw Sabrina Subramanian over at Bank of America saying, we're definitely in the downtrend now. Where does that favor in terms of sectors here? What would your advice be?
Right. So, Kelly, I'm going to make a subtle distinction. The profit cycle is definitely decelerating. We are entering a profits recession. That's pretty clear. You're seeing a lot of that in the market, a lot of response in terms of corporate cash flows and all the risks that go along with that. However, the economy overall is actually remarkably healthy. I'm very surprised that people have been coming on your show today or this week talking about the weakness in the economy. We just had building permits, which is a leading indicator, post its biggest number in almost 2 years. We have jobless claims, another leading indicator that's remarkably strong. GDP now from the Atlanta Fed is tracking at about roughly a little above 3% right now. So I don't get why people say the economy is so weak. Yes, corporate profits are, but I don't think the overall economy is.
So you're not in the recession camp?
Oh, I don't think we're even close to one, Tyler. I mean,
Wow.
As I said, GDP now, which is a real-time tracker of the economy, is at about 3%. That's not even close to even a weak scenario by U.S. standards.
What about the back half of the year, though?
Back half of the year, what could happen is that as the profit cycle deteriorates further, and let's say we have a deeper profits recession than people are anticipating, that will, of course, end up in layoffs and a weaker economy. But that's a far cry from saying we're already in a recession.
Who do you have winning your bracket, Rich?
I have Houston winning the whole thing. We'll see how that turns out.
Is that a Rangers jersey behind you, Rich?
It is a Rangers jersey. They're playing the Penguins tonight. Yes.
Well, just you wait. You'll get yours, as you have for the last 40 years. you will get yours.
Yeah, right. Well, Tyler, I will tell you, my alma mater, Hamilton College, the women's hockey team is in the Frozen Four for Division III this weekend.
Oh, that's good.
Which is pretty cool, actually.
I didn't
no
see
pun
him in the
intended.
NCAA. I didn't see him in my bracket.
Hamilton was not in my bracket.
No, Hamilton's D3. The men's basketball team, I think, crashed out already. But women's hockey's in the Frozen Four.
Good stuff.
Rich, thanks for playing ball.